Yeah, the one thing that is guaranteed when you're pursuing your goals is that you're going to have to face several seemingly bad situations. So in this episode, we're going to take a look at how to deal with such situations and how you can come out of it stronger. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Up It and the Actionables podcast. My name is Peyton. You know what is the similarity between you and I? Just like you, life has thrown some curveballs at me too. But the one thing that I have learned is that no matter how seemingly bad a situation might be, it all works out in the end. And I know that is such a bold statement to make, especially when somebody is going through something difficult. But stay with me and I will show you how to make the best out of the situation that you're going through, because this is a skill that will help you pursue your goals in a much better way. Let's start this conversation by discussing the most recent bad situation that is generic for all of us, and that is this global pandemic that we are facing currently. And even though this is the second year of the pandemic, there are still a lot of us who are trying to figure out how to deal with this new world order. Personally, there are days when I feel completely blah, and doing the normal things require more than the usual effort. Things seem hopeless and I go to sleep with a heavy heart, or afraid of the situation and afraid for my loved ones. And then there is all these sort of news that is floating around in WhatsApp groups, on social media, and we're trying to figure out our footing as to what's happening, what may happen, and basically the whole situation ends up looking really bleak. Comment and tell me below if you feel the same way. If that sounded like a downer, I'm not going to apologize, because that's just how I feel some of the times. And having said that, I feel that the reason we should share and talk about how we feel is that's the way we move through our fears. There is no point bottling up and keeping our feelings and fears to ourselves right now. That's not going to help the situation at all. So what's important is to find out how you're feeling, to articulate and express that feeling with little or no judgment. And that brings us to tip number 1 to making the most out of a bad situation, is to express how you feel. Very often what happens is when we are going through something difficult, we may be in the mood to handle and fix it. And while that is great, what is equally important is to take the time to figure out how we truly feel about the situation and express that to a loved one. Even though it might be scary to do this, it is extremely necessary as well as healthy. To give you an example, I live with my sister, and when there are days I'm feeling low, I may say something like this to her, that I'm feeling blah. And I don't expect her to fix the situation or make me feel better, but the fact that I got it out of my system really helps me, even though she does try to help me and make me feel better. If we are mindful about how we are feeling about a situation and we just say it out aloud, that helps a lot in itself. Now, of course, depending on how low you feel about any given situation, go ahead and seek the right kind of help if need be. And as obvious as that might sound, it is a skill that requires a lot of practice, because it requires a deep level of vulnerability, but is extremely healthy and a brilliant thing to do for yourself. Tip number 2 is moving from thought to engagement. Now, there's this beautiful quote from one of the teachers that I really admire and look up to, Marie Folio, who says that clarity comes from engagement and not from thought. Now, in any situation, there are only 2 ways to look at it. One is to think about things in a negative manner. Generally, when you are in a negative situation, the kind of thoughts that you're going to likely have are negative. And the second, more empowered way to look at a situation is to ask yourself this really simple question, which is, what can I do about this situation? When you ask yourself, what can I do about this situation, you are shifting your focus from thought, from thinking negative thoughts, and focusing on what you could potentially do about the situation that you're in. So when you start asking yourself what you can do about the situation that you are in, you can get creative and you can start to feel much better rather than being stuck in your thoughts. It can help us to get unstuck from our minds and to focus on things that we can do. So instead of looking at your social media and searching or going through crazy, fearful messages and getting lost in negative thoughts, what we can choose to do instead is to focus on the things that we can do, which is in our control. So there are a few things that we have already been doing: staying at home and taking good care of our immunity. And finally, tip number 3 is ask for help. Now, there's absolutely nothing brave about going through a difficult situation all by yourself. I'm going to repeat that for emphasis. There is absolutely nothing brave about going through a difficult situation all by yourself. In fact, it requires a high degree of sensitivity, vulnerability, as well as self-awareness to know that you need help and to be able to ask for it. So if you need to talk about something, to express your feelings, now is not the time to hesitate or to think about how it will come across. If you need to talk to a loved one, pick up the phone, get on a video call, speak to a loved one. If you need more professional help, then reach out to your friends for references or look up online, because there is nothing wrong in seeking for help. And especially right now, being at home and in the current situation that we're in, we all need to be able to break this taboo of talking, because talking is not overrated. In fact, sometimes all we need to do is to get it out of our systems, to be able to say the things that we are thinking so that it is not stuck in our minds. So if you feel beat up right now and if you feel you need help, then reach out for it. Sometimes the bravest thing to do is to ask for help. Now, of course, I understand that the degree of seriousness of a negative situation varies. However, I really believe that these tips can help you maneuver a difficult situation. The sun is going to come up tomorrow. It may be hard and challenging right now, but you can choose to move through challenging situation with hope, grace, and kindness. If you want further tips on how to focus on your goals, then be sure to watch this video next. I hope you take care of yourself, and remember, what you want matters, and it's really up to you to make it happen. I will see you in the next episode. Take care, stay healthy.